So, hi guys, welcome to the MMA UK News, MMA UK BJJ show. Obviously, myself, Stoomboy, as always. So, tonight we're talking about SGI, so Scottish Grappling Invitational 8. So, that's going to be in usual place, Maryhill Community Hall, Saturday, the 9th of October, starting at 5 o'clock. So, I think the doors are open at 5 o'clock. Some great events, some great fights, some great grappling events on that night as well. As I say, we're going to start, I think there's 3 different parts of it. So obviously starting off with some fights, we'll be doing the open weight tournaments, obviously the quarterfinals, and then moving on to the next part, which will be the semi-finals, and then again, some fights in between that. And then obviously going for another interval, and then moving on to the final part, which will be obviously headlined by the open weight tournament final. So again, SGI always puts on a fantastic event. Tickets are available through the Facebook page and again through Eventbrite. So obviously the deal on the tickets, again, as they always do, so £80, well, it's £20 a ticket. So or £80, which is 5 tickets for the price of 4, £160, 10 tickets for the price of 8. So yeah, tonight's guest is Mr. Scottish Grappling himself, James McIntyre. So James obviously going to tell us about, obviously we've got a big announcement that we're going to talk about in regards to the open weight tournament. So James, absolute pleasure to have you on again, buddy. How you doing?
I'm not too bad, Stoom. Always a pleasure to be on.
Nice.
Glad to be back, busy organising events.
Yes. And we had the first event, obviously, at the Ravenscraig. Obviously, it was a good event. As I said, some really good fights. Obviously, seen a lot of good talent coming through.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't actually get to see much of the competition on the day. Unfortunately, Gary, who's obviously my business partner, he normally does a lot of work on the day so that I can jump in with ref and deal with other issues as well. Gary, unfortunately, the week before tested positive for COVID, so he was in COVID jail for the entire time. So it was just me, myself, and I on the day. A few other guys did help out. Martin Smith, in particular, was fantastic. It was a challenging day, one that I'm glad we got through, and just hopefully onwards and upwards. Because, well, for the Glasgow Open in November, Gary can't get COVID again this time because I'll no test him. So if he's not well, he's going to have to be there.
Yeah, definitely. But it was a good event. I mean, as I say, anybody I spoke to, again, the kind of feeling I got from it is everybody was glad to be back.
Yeah, it was certainly the vibe. I mean, the amount of people who it was just really good to see after so long. I mean, there were people who maybe hadn't seen for obviously since before lockdown. Because I mean, the last SGI was right before everything went to hell. I mean, literally, we had that in the Saturday, and then I think by the following week we were essentially in a lockdown.
Yeah. Because I think the SGI was on the Saturday, and then the Thursday they made the announcement that as of the Friday, that was it. Everything was shut down. So we managed to get SGI in straight before it.
Aye. So
yeah,
it's good. It's finally good to get the 8th one off the ground because that had been scheduled for. We should be up about 13 by now. Unlucky for some. But we are where we are, so we're getting it in a bit later than planned.
Yes. And we did have planned it was going to be Scotland and England females. We're going to go at it, but obviously, unfortunately, Lorna Kinnock, as we know, obviously has had to go for knee surgery, so we kind of lost that. So, I mean, how difficult was it for you to then change? Because obviously that was going to be the show. So how difficult was it for you to change from that over to the 8-man tournament?
It wasn't that difficult because I'm generally thinking plans a couple of events ahead so that we know what we're going to do. And it was just a case of bringing that one forward 2 events, because that was originally going to be for one next year, with something different in the works for December the 11th show, which, just because of the availability of the people that were involved, we couldn't bring that forward, because there were 2 of the people who just couldn't manage it. So that should still be happening on December the 11th. We'll announce that once this show's out the road. But that's also going to be very, very good. That's going to have a lot of interest once again for that one, and I think that'll be pretty much a sellout.
Yeah. And one fight that everybody's talking about. So, as you probably know, there was a back and forward on Instagram between the 2 giants of Scottish Jiu-Jitsu, Mark Mcqueen and Big Mo.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously used to train with Mo, and you just used to watch him in the gym, and I wasn't long after my back surgery, so it was always a case of, nah, I think I'll not bother with that one. But the thing is, if something had happened, he is an orthopaedic surgeon, so it would have been the perfect person to advise what to do to fix it. But nah, didn't fancy that risk. But for those who don't know, Mo is actually a really, really high level, very similar to Mark. He's a really, really high level athlete. He was in England and B international, I think it was, in rugby union. Sustained a really, really bad injury to his shoulder, I think it was. And had to call it quits. Otherwise, he's one of the guys who you'd be watching in the Six Nations on a regular basis. He was at that level. So matches up really, really well with Mark and the whole athletic prowess and everything. So just need to hope that at some point Mo's back over from Australia, and it kind of coincides with a show that we can put on and give the fans what they want to see. We need to make sure that Mary Hill gets the floors reinforced, but we might need to do that for this one as well.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Yeah. So the 8-man tournament, obviously, there's been a lot of rumours. A lot of people had some names tipped. So 8-man tournament, James. So who have we got?
Right, I've got my spreadsheet sitting in a split screen here as well. So I'll just start at the top and work my way down. So we have got the aforementioned Mark Mcqueen from Marcos Nardini BJJ. Mark has been on a tear since he started in Jiu-Jitsu. In fact, I don't think he's lost in a tournament setting since he started.
I think he's had, what was the talk? I think it was about 30 fights, around about 30 fights, won all fights. I don't believe, there's talk he's not lost a point yet. So I don't believe he's lost a point either. And obviously on the run to that, as you know, he won the Euros as a white belt. Obviously done a number of Eurocomps, won some cash prizes at Scottish grappling events as well. And obviously we know what he did when he went down to Manchester a few weeks ago. And obviously what he did down there, which sent shocks around the jiu-jitsu world.
So, yeah, it certainly seems that it's an environment that's made for him, but I think looking at who I know is in, this is probably going to be one of his toughest tests. This is up there with the match against Ross Nichols, I would say, just depending on how the tournament goes.
Yeah. So we've got Mark Mcqueen, MNBJJ, purple belt. Been training for a little over, I believe, taking lockdown out of it, just over a year. But obviously adding in lockdown, he's probably been coming close on 3 years. Started at GB and then came over to Marcos's. So as you said, been on an absolute tear. And yeah, definitely one to see, as I said, for now and for the future. So Mark Mcqueen is in for this.
So next on our list is our second Scottish-based fighter for the tournament, and that's Nathaniel Montgomery from the Grip.
Yeah.
So Nathaniel's also a purple belt. He's an SGI veteran. Has a style that's very suited to sub-only contests.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to give away position if it's going to allow him to set up any form of attack.
Yeah.
A very, very calm fighter. You wouldn't know Nathaniel's in a match watching him. It's
Yeah.
almost as if he's sleepwalking through it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I spoke to Nathaniel. I mean, I remember he was at the Scottish Grappling event, and I said he was, because I know he didn't have the best of performances by his own standards, but I said, look, you're more suited to a submission only environment, because when you see him in submission onlys, he shines, and he does some fantastic stuff. And as I said, he's always impressive to watch in submission only tournaments.
Yeah, so we know what we're getting with Nathaniel. He'll, regardless who he's up against, he'll put in a good showing against him.
Yeah, yeah. So there we go. We got Nathaniel Montgomery, Grip House, purple belt. So always a pleasure watching Nathaniel anytime he comes out. So there we go. Matt Mcqueen, Nathaniel Montgomery.
So third one, and this is one of our big reveals, and I was very, very happy to get a message from this gentleman. And participant number 3 is first degree black belt from Mill Hill BJJ. He's a Polaris veteran, he's a Grapple Fest veteran, various other shows, and that is Edinger Mills.
Nice, yeah. So I know we'd spoke about Ed as well. There was talk about Ed, and Ed, I believe, ADCC winner as well. I think was it in Europe somewhere, won the ADCC. I don't think it was the trials. Yeah, so I don't think it was the trials. I think it was when ADCC put on specific competitions and things like that. But I think he's won. I'm sure he's won it a couple of times. So very, very experienced guy, and again for submission only tournaments as well. I mean, he's always looking for submissions, and he's a quick finisher as well. I mean, anytime you look at his record, he likes to put on a performance and do it very, very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very impressive win over Jamie Hughes and Polaris with a heel hook.
Yeah.
So he's a guy who been on the big shows. He knows how to finish. He's come from an excellent team under Nick Brooks. So it's a real big coup to have him on the show.
Yeah. So there we go. So we're on 3. So and again, 3 fantastic guys so far. So and you look at the 3 so far and you think, well, they're 3 absolutely fantastic guys. Do you know what I mean? Putting another 5 in that is going to be unbelievable.
Yeah. So number 4 is Lawrence Fitzpatrick from Jason Tan's MMA Academy in Liverpool. Lawrence is a brown belt under Jay. He's an experienced pro MMA fighter.
Yeah.
I think he's currently UKFC champion.
Yeah.
And he has some big scalps on his MMA record, including a submission victory over Charles Crazy Horse Bennett.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, 7-2 as an MMA fighter as well, and again, submission guy as well. He likes to beat everybody. The majority of his fights have been won by submission, or quite a few of his fights aren't arm triangles, rear naked chokes, guillotine chokes. So, and again, a quick finisher as well. I mean, you look at some of his wins. I mean, 14 seconds, 16 seconds. So again, quite a few first round finishes. So again, another quick submission guy.
Yeah, so exciting guy. I mean, I spoke to my good friend Alan Howcroft about him as well, because Alan obviously works in a lot of the shows down there, and he's like, no, James, that's a guy you need to have on. He is legit.
Yeah.
So no argument there. I trust Alan impeccably in his judgment in these things. When I saw all the stuff online as well, I'm like, yeah, definitely this is a guy who's going to be a good fit for this.
Yeah. So there we go. Lawrence Fitzpatrick, our fourth guy. As I said again, another high level guy, another guy that's going to bring it when he comes as well. So yeah, we got four guys. So
next one up is also from Merseyside, and this is black belt Chris Walsh. His own gym, Sapphire MMA, but he's a next generation product, so same camp as Chris Fishgold, Paddy Pimblett, all these guys. Again, fought in Polaris, fought in Grapple Fest against one of our other veterans, Ellis Younger. So wealth of experience, really high level, come for really, really good camp, known for strong finishers. So again, very well suited for this environment.
And again, another no-gi guy. So loves his no-gi. As he's been in Naga, obviously done local comps throughout, not just UK, but further afield as well. But yeah, another no-gi guy, another high-level no-gi guy coming in. So Chris Walsh, and as you mentioned, obviously some of the people and next gen that he does get the chance to train with. So again, a high level gym coming out of next gen, and obviously Sapphire as well.
Okay. So our next one is one that we won't have heard much about, which is something we like to do. We like to throw in people who we haven't really heard much about, and it's worked in tournaments in the past. And this guy's coming all the way from Greece, where he represents Greece Baja Draculino team, and that is Vasilios Boulouksis. He's a brown belt, and he has medalled at numerous events over in his own country. He just happens to be in the UK at this point in time. Contacted us, and we thought, well, why not throw in a wild card?
I mean, even a wild, again, I don't know anything about him, but I mean, coming out of GB Draculino team, anybody that's under Draculino is going to come with a high level of jiu-jitsu. And Draculino's one of these guys. When I remember I was over in the States and we did a training camp with him, and he was always like, you've only got X amount of time, whether it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes or whatever. Make it count. Be first, always be first, and always be pushing. So he's going to come definitely with that same kind of intensity.
Yeah, and that's what we want. We don't want 10, 15-minute stall fests. We want matches that are going to have the crowd in the edge of the seats.
Yeah. So he's definitely going to bring it as well. I'd say a Draculino guy, they'll always come to a fight. So, and it's good that he's obviously travelling around the UK at the moment then, or he's in the UK. So you've been able to get him as well.
Yeah. So our next competitor, so our seventh one on our list, is actually one of our reigning champions for SGI, and it was what we would one of the guys I would have described as a wild card on one of our previous ones, and that's our under 75 champion Jack Golan from SPG Tullamore over in Ireland. For those who don't remember, Jack came into that tournament. We hadn't really heard much about it. We're starting to build up a good reputation in Ireland on the sub-only scene. He's one of Kieran Davern's students, and on that night heel hooked both Dean Riley and Ben Robson. Which no one, I think, predicted beforehand. I think everyone was thinking we'd be looking at a Dean and Ben final. And Jack just blew everyone away. His leg lock game was phenomenal. Really, really exciting young fighter. And so I was really happy when he said that he wanted on this.
And again, he comes with a wealth of experience as well, as he's done quite a few things. And again, loves his no-gi as well. So absolutely loves no-gi. So again, this is going to suit him. And he's been here before. He's obviously been on the SGI before, so he knows what to expect, what kind of atmosphere it is and things like that. So yeah, looking forward to seeing Jack back on the mats at SGI as well.
So that brings us to our final participant. And we did have a slot open right up until Saturday for this. And it just so happened there had been someone posted a highlight reel of this guy on the underground, and I'd been sitting watching it. And literally, just as I'd been watching that, a message from him pinged in to say he wanted in the tournament. So our eighth participant is from Carlson Gracie Hull, and it is former Commonwealth Judo gold medalist Owen Livesey.
Nice. Yeah.
Owen's fought in quite a few sub-only shows before as well, including Grapple Fest. Absolute monster stand-up, aggressive style that you'd expect from a high-level judo guy, and also coming from the Carlson Gracie camp, you're not going to find someone who's going to be a shrinking violet coming from there. I've been in enough meetings with Dickie and Simon from Carlson Gracie London to know that no, it's say what you think and smash is the operative words.
Yeah. He's again another high level guy. Again, obviously got a pro MMA fighter as well. So I think he's 2-0? Yeah, 2-0 at the moment as an MMA. Again, both first round knockouts, very, very quick. First round finishes, should I say? Both very, very quick finishes, and big lump of a boy as well. Yeah, as you said, Commonwealth Games winner. I think won a gold back in 2014. And yeah, I mean, he's going to come with that judo game, and he's going to be throwing people about. And so another exciting guy. This is definitely Owen Livesey. I mean, anybody that knows judo, they're going to know exactly who he is. So buzzing to see him as well. Buzzing to see what he can bring.
Yeah, I mean, it's when you look up and down the list of guys that's there, everyone's bringing something different. It's not as if we've got carbon copies, everyone there. You've got guys that are quicker, you've got guys that are insanely strong. You've got guys who are known for leg lock games, you've got guys with phenomenal stand-up. So it's basically any potential matchup is going to be toss a coin, see who's going to take it, because it's whoever's style is going to match best with who they're up against, or possibly who doesn't make a mistake.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, and I've got a couple of comments coming in. So, who's the GOAT of Scottish grappling, or who's the GOAT at Scottish grappling? So, I don't know whether he said who's the GOAT. I don't even know. There's only one Mr. Scottish grappling. So if he's talking about who's the Scottish grappling GOAT, then it's definitely Mr. Scottish grappling himself, James McIntyre. So
thank you for that. If it's for grappling just in general in Scotland, there's only one answer to that as well, and that's got to be Rick Young.
Yeah.
That's the man who put it out there, essentially. I mean, I started thinking about doing jiu-jitsu because I read Rick's column, and I think it was Martial Arts Illustrated.
Yeah.
He used to write for, back before he even had the full-time academy. He was working as a postman, going down all his training later on. And he really inspired me to look into getting classes, and that's how I ended up going to train with Scott McVeigh at Kelvin Hall many moons ago.
Yeah.
But definitely that's greatest of all time for grappling in Scotland. Definitely Rick Young.
Definitely. Rick Young's definitely the man. He's the godfather of Scottish Jiu-Jitsu. So it's definitely him. And then We've got Peter Knox. So, Stoom, who do you think will win the tournament? Don't sit on the fence and pick one. Now, I'm normally bad at this, James. Whenever anybody asks me, usually they ask me when I'm interviewing the person. So I think we've done I think who was fighting? Was it Aidan Stevens? I was doing an interview with him. And then Peter came in and said, Stoom, who's going to win between Aidan and Davy Sharp? And for me, it was do you know what I mean? I never like picking a winner. I never ever like picking a winner. This one's exciting. Do you know what I mean? This event, this 8-man tournament's exciting. As I said, Mark, I train with Mark and I know what Mark's capable of, and Mark's an animal. Obviously, we've seen what he's done, but I mean, see, when you look at some of the people that's thrown in with him, Nathaniel's style is exciting to watch. Ed's an absolute animal. Lawrence Fitzpatrick, Chris Walsh, Jack Bowen, Owen Livesey. Do you know what I mean? I'm looking forward to seeing him because, I mean, I think Owen Lives, for me, obviously I want Mark Mcqueen to win. Right? He's my man. He's my boy. So I'm going to pick Mark. But as I said, I think Owen Livesey could be the one that would come up against him. So I think potentially one of them two. But do you know what? Makes no difference who I say. It's going to be exciting for the people that are coming there to watch. So, and then James, what's the next competition after Glasgow in November? From Gerald Williamson.
Next comp after that should be the Scottish Open, which I think off the top of my head we've got booked for the first weekend in March. So it's slightly later than it normally is, but we were hedging our bets just in case everything went mental over the winter. We wanted to give it that wee bit more time. I think I've got all the dates up on the competition calendar in the underground because we think we've got quite a few confirmed for next year. The only ones we don't have are the Glasgow Open, and with any luck, the new Meadowbank's due to open within the next 2 months. So we're hoping to get back in there for an Edinburgh comp because the Pleasance at the uni was really good, but the parking was really bad.
Parking was a nightmare there, yeah.
So as much as I like the venue, just logistically, I don't think we could use it again. But Meadowbank is due to open, so we're hoping to get back in there for a comp next year as well. So see, definitely the Scottish Open, Scottish Cup, and I think the sub-only championships that we were going to run before, again, COVID kicked off last year. They're all in the calendar. Just off the top of my head, I can't remember the dates that we'd set for it.
And that's one of the things James is always busy. I mean, always when he's not working, he works a full-time job as well. And when he's not working, he's obviously doing jiu-jitsu stuff, obviously arranging competitions and speaking to fighters and stuff like that. So definitely one of the busiest guys in jiu-jitsu because he's not just planning the current event, but he's also looking and planning future events as well. So as he mentioned earlier, he's always 2 steps ahead. So if, like, so when the female one, Scotland and England one fell out, he was able to then bring forward the 8-man tournament. So he's always busy, always jiu-jitsu thinking in his head. That's why he's Mr. Scottish Grappling.
It's one of these things. It's a planning. If you don't plan ahead, then you're always just going to have to be reacting, and I prefer to be planning out things rather than reacting, because then at least if something does happen, well, we can do XYZ. It's not going to be a major crisis.
Definitely. And then another comment coming in, Craig Tobin was I don't know if you remember Craig. Craig was started off at GB, got up to blue belt, moved over to the hit squad, then met an American girl, moved over to, I can't even remember that, Philadelphia, wherever he's moved to, got married and so on. He's now doing jiu-jitsu over in America. He's coming back to Scotland in December for a visit, and he's just saying, how's it going? How are you feeling about the Scottish scene opening back up now, James?
It's a big relief. I mean, for the longest period, obviously I'm the UK BJJ director for Scotland as well. The only thing I was doing for Scottish scene was writing, well, trying first of all to interpret the information that was coming from Scottish Government, Sports Scotland, and try and write guides for focus to what we should be doing. And a lot of the information that was coming out was not clear at all. There was stuff that you wouldn't actually get access to unless you actually contacted Sports Scotland themselves. So, for instance, the ratios and things for people in a training environment, it was very, very difficult to work out looking at any information that was there. It was only by actually emailing them that you, and waiting for a fortnight till they finally replied, that you got the answer that we were looking for. Now, thankfully, that then went out the window because it was going to be ridiculous. You were going to have not really be able to fit Andy into a gym. But they obviously had to revise that because they couldn't have one rules for us and then cram 30 Waynes into school. Putting one of my other hats on at that point. But it's been really good to see, obviously, competition starting back up. All the pictures with people for training, the seminars and things kicking off again. Just hoping it continues so we can start to see some of the bigger events that happen in the UK. Hopefully, UK BJJ International Open is going to be returning in 2022.
That was the big one. That was the one. Was it the 20 grand one? Is that the same one I'm thinking about? Adam Warzinski won it.
Yes, with Adam Warzinski, we had Tommy Langaker, we had Amelia Tukanen. We had some really, really good people over for that. We then held it in 2019 in Cardiff. Numbers again grew for that. 2022 is going to be somewhere in England, probably London. But we haven't set anything in stone for that yet. But hopefully we do get that set up. We'll see a lot of Scottish people make the journey down to that, because membership of the UK BJJ in Scotland has skyrocketed recently. There's a whole host of new clubs signed up for it. And if any clubs are interested and want to speak about it, then drop me a message and I can talk you through what we offer. And
definitely,
hopefully in the near future, we'll finally get that coveted official national governing body status approved.
Definitely. So, and I'd say UK BJJ, I'd say there's going to be a lot of good things happening. There's always good things coming from a UK BJJ. So there's always going to be new stuff coming up. I know they're doing the elections just now for different roles. Obviously, they're doing the development officers in Scotland, one in England, Wales, and so on. So there's going to be some changes at the UK BJJ over the next kind of little while. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. So hopefully, whatever happens, it's going to make it a lot better. And then, so we know that SGI, we've now got 8 men. So we're 8 men, and again, it's going to be a fantastic 8-man tournament, a very, very exciting one. So yeah, definitely get your tickets for that. I mean, tickets, as we said earlier, tickets for it are £20 a ticket. If you're buying block tickets, as I said, you'll get 5 tickets for the price of 4, so £80. 10 tickets for the price of 8, so £160. Make sure you do get your tickets. Well, I mean, door tickets. I would expect, obviously, to get your tickets from the website for purely track and trace reasons. Okay, so definitely don't turn up on a day and expect that you're going to get in. So make sure you do get your tickets in early, and do not be disappointed.
Yeah, it's like a lot of things at the moment. We are pretty much tied with track and trace, so we need all the details. So we need the online sales.
Yes.
The venue's always been a bit reluctant to allow sales in the door anyway, but now
Yeah.
it's no
Yeah.
chance.
Yeah.
So if you want to attend, then buy your tickets online in advance, because we don't want to be turning people away on the day, but we will have to, otherwise we run the risk of the venue telling us you're not coming back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've got a good reputation with them. We've got a good reputation with all our venues, so we never like anything that upsets them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
please don't put us in difficult positions.
yeah, I was at Evolution of Combat at Maryhill Community Halls as well. So masks are being made to be worn when you're there. As the staff made sure that anybody that was coming in was wearing a mask. So yeah, it's council rules. So make sure that you are wearing a mask when you do come to the venue. And it's the same in all council venues. So any council venue or any kind of local venues, there's always going to be masks. So yeah, definitely make sure that you've got a mask. Make sure tickets are bought beforehand. As they definitely don't turn up on a day and expect to get in like we used to, purely because of track and trace reasons. As I say, they need to be able to make sure that everybody's traced, if anything did come about, which it shouldn't really do. As I said, we've been, as I said, everything's been good so far. So let's not ruin it, anybody. All right. So yeah, James, last thing for you then. Anything you want to say? So anybody you want to shout out to, maybe give a shout out to Big Gary. So hopefully we'll see him at this one.
Yeah, we'll definitely see him at this one. He'll be in his usual spot, being Bobby the Barman, no doubt. Say, be good to have him back, and say I'll be less stressed and used to my grey hairs coming for work rather than anything to do with the comps. That's generally a nice wee diversion, but
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
last one definitely not.
Uh,
Like to put out just one thing we haven't said so far about SGI is we've got a really good refereeing team set up. We always have a good refereeing team anyway, but head referee for the event is UK BJJ head referee, third degree black belt Marcello Coppa,
yeah, yeah,
who we get up for a lot of our events. Best referee I've ever worked with.
yeah,
We've
yeah,
worked with quite a lot, and the most he's going to be ably assisted on the day by Scotland's most photogenic referee, the one, the only Mr. Giles Garcia.
yeah. Scottish Yoda, the Jiu-Jitsu Yoda.
Yeah, so we've got a really good team. Jamie will be filming it. As always, there will not be a stream because we were not confident that we can get the quality
Yeah.
from the venue.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is an old building, it can be problematic.
Yeah.
So videos will be available after the event, as they normally are. Might be on a slightly different platform. We are looking into that at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. But as I say, a great event. As I say, great event. The lineup's on the Scottish Grappling page, so obviously the lineup, and again, a lot of good people on there. A lot of really, really good guys that have been on before, so we know what to expect. MMA fighters. We've seen some of the guys recently at Evolution of Combat fighting in MMA situations and stuff like that. So Andrew Marley, return to Andrew Marley as well. So
Yep.
again, another SGI. Somebody's been on a few times. So again, he's coming back from. I know he was down with Cammy and Kieran. Obviously with the British wrestling team. So
Scottish wrestling team at the moment,
Yeah.
because it's in the run up to Commonwealths.
Yeah. So, and I know they came away. I think what did they win? Every fight bar one down south. So,
Yeah.
so they came away with a victory there. So obviously Andrew Marley will be exciting to see him again. What's your fight? What one are you looking forward to, James?
There's quite a lot of really good ones on the card. Jamie Middleton and Erin will be a good
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah.
Was looking forward to David Sharp's fight.
Yeah.
He, however, tried to join the Yakuza when he was in Poland, it seems. So, unfortunately, we're having to look for a replacement for him.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we'll get somebody really good to step in there. Just talk about timing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, we want to wish David a very quick recovery because it sounds like a bad one.
Yeah, yeah. I saw his post there. He was talking about it earlier on. So he sounds like he's had a bit of a nightmare coming home from Poland. So let's hope he's okay and gets back on the mats pretty soon. So, but no, it looks like definitely a great card. So anybody's not seen the card, I'd say you're going to see it on the Scottish Grappling page. It's also on the SGI 8 page and Scottish BJJ community page, and obviously myself and other people have reposted it as well, so you'll be able to get that fight card. And hopefully there's not too much changes. I know that it can be a nightmare for you, James, changing about and stuff like that, but hopefully, fingers crossed, this one should be a little bit more straightforward than previous ones. So
yeah, everyone keep your fingers crossed unless it's Sharp and it's a night to laugh.
Definitely. Well, Justin James, absolute pleasure to speak to you again, buddy. As I said, I'll be there on the 9th as always. So yeah, definitely make sure you get your tickets in quickly. What about one thing I forgot to mention then is so the doors are opening at 5 o'clock. What time's the first
usual,
fight on it?
same as it always is. First fight 5:45.
Yeah. So I'd say make sure you guys are in the venue, get yourself your seats, and yeah, sponsorships as well. Anybody's looking to sponsor any of the events, any of the fights, just get in contact with Scottish Grappling page as always, or contact James. Sponsorship, I believe, is still available.
Yeah, not sold any packages yet. I think we've got 2 gold tables, 2 silver, and a whole host of kind of front row sponsorship packages that are available.
Yeah, so make sure anybody looking to sponsor, then definitely get in contact with James at the Scottish Grappling event. As I said, always a fantastic event. So James, looking forward to it. Listen, thank you again, James, and I'll speak to you soon, buddy.
Thank you, Stu. Pleasure was all mine.
All right, buddy. Take it easy.
You too.